morning, everybody. It's the Coach Matthew Mitchell Show. I'm your host, Coach Matthew Mitchell. We're here, and we're ready to roll today. It's sort of mid-October, I think, when this episode will come out. And mid-October in Kentucky always meant a couple things. The horses are racing. There's no doubt about it. There's horse racing here at Keeneland. I invite you, if you want to do something really cool and really beautiful, come to Lexington in October and see the horses run. But you may be aware that basketball is pretty important in Kentucky, and particularly the University of Kentucky has such a great basketball tradition, and we have two very successful programs, men's basketball, women's basketball at the University of Kentucky, that are here in Lexington. And when I was coaching the team, the women's team, did that for 13 years, at the beginning of my tenure, there was always a very important date, and that was October 15th. October 15th, for years and years, was when basketball season started. And probably, I should have researched this before I got on, but maybe 50 years ago, a coach at the University of Maryland, maybe longer ago than that. Please write in to the show, write into us, and fact check me. I'm happy to get fact checked on this. But a famous ACC men's basketball coach at the University of Maryland, Lefty Driesell, started a tradition called Midnight Madness. So the concept was they were so excited to begin the season, to begin practice, that they couldn't wait until the next day. They started at midnight. As soon as it became October 15th, they started practice. So this is a tradition that kind of caught on, and it arrived at Kentucky, and it became known as Lefty may have trademarked Midnight Madness, or somebody may have done that. But at Kentucky, we didn't call it Midnight Madness. We called it Big Blue Madness. And so that was always, for many years, October 15th. They would practice at midnight. And then when I first started at Kentucky as an assistant, say 2003, you still had to wait till midnight, but they call it Big Blue Madness, and we'd have it in Memorial Coliseum, the on-campus arena that held about 8,500 people. And then they took off the prohibition of starting, that you could start before midnight. And so it just gained such popularity that it eventually moved to our downtown arena, Rupp Arena, one of the most famous sports venues in America. Downtown Lexington, at the time, almost 25,000 seats in Rupp Arena. I think it's maybe my third Big Blue Madness as the head coach. And we were recruiting a player at this point in time that I wanted very badly, that I thought was the perfect Kentucky Wildcat for Kentucky women's basketball. I mean, the prototypical player for our style of play. We were very up-tempo, played a fast pace, and this player was perfect. And her name was Benaja Laney. Now, Benaja Laney now plays in the WNBA. In fact, I don't know if the playoffs will still be going on when this airs, but she plays for the New York Liberty and has had a tremendous professional career, had a tremendous college career, and just a great player. Well, I knew this. I could spot talent. Great talent evaluator. And so Benaja, we were recruiting Benaja, and she liked the Wildcats. She liked Coach Mitchell, that was one of the keys now in recruiting. The players sort of had to like you a little bit, so they'd want to come play for you. So she was going to be attending Big Blue Madness. And when I tell you I wanted this player, I wanted her to come to Kentucky. I wanted her to come to Kentucky. And within the rules, we never wanted to get outside the rules. But within the rules, I was willing to do pretty much anything. And so my assistant coach came to me and said, it's a big weekend. Benaja's going to be here. I said, I know it. I am so excited. I cannot wait for her to get here. We're going to do the best job ever, and we're going to get her to commit to Kentucky. She said, well, let me tell you something. I think we're really close, and I think that it could happen this weekend, and I have an idea. There's a new dance coming out. Not coming out. There's a new dance that's out. It's taking the internet by storm. YouTube was sort of in its infancy at this point in time. And she said, I think if you'll do this dance, Benaja loves this dance. She's going crazy over this dance. If you'll do the dance, we can get Benaja. I think this will tip the scales. I said, what is this dance? She said, it's the Dougie. The Dougie. And I said, well, will anyone teach me how to Dougie? And she said, in fact, they will. In fact, that's a major part of the song. It says, teach me how to Dougie. So my fearless point guard at the time, so I agreed, hold on, teach me this dance, let me know what to do, and I will dance at Big Blue Madness. And so our fearless point guard at the time, Amber Smith, tremendous point guard, one of the best that ever played at Kentucky. She came into the office and said, let me teach you how to Dougie, Coach. And we looked on YouTube, and it was hysterical. I mean, this was a funny time. People were let's not get into all the YouTube videos, but it was hysterical. And I probably laughed more than I really tried to learn how to do the Dougie, because it seemed a bit of a ridiculous dance to me. But nevertheless, I got the basics down. All right. So now we get to the fateful night. 25,000 people, 6-8 television stations, ESPN. It is a zoo in this place. And do you think I am focused on any of that? I am not. I am focused on one person, and that's Benaja Laney. And I am going to go out, and I'm going to do this dance. And so they announce it. Coach Matthew Mitchell, here he comes. There, the crowd's cheering, and so they crank up the Dougie. And you can go to YouTube and find this. This is living in infamy on YouTube. So I go out and I do probably the worst rendition of the Dougie that's ever been done, but I do it with great enthusiasm and tremendous commitment. I committed to this because I was focused on getting Benaja Laney. And so I do the Dougie. And so Benaja's delighted. Loved the Dougie. Got a good reception from the crowd. And so I am feeling pretty good about this situation. And so we go along, have a good rest of the visit, and I'm just over the moon. I think we're going to get Benaja Laney. Well, you can probably tell where this is going. 2 weeks later, Benaja calls, upset, sad. Hey, Coach, I love you. You're terrific, but I am not, in fact, coming to Kentucky. I'm going to Rutgers. So that was a huge blow, and you would probably say that's a sad story, and I don't know how it could get much worse. You go out there and embarrass yourself and do the Dougie, and it really doesn't even pay off or anything. Oh no, it gets worse. It gets worse from there. Because of that performance, the fans at Kentucky liked it much more than Benaja did. And they really started to demand that I dance at Big Blue Madness. So I proceeded the next 9 years after that. There was a dance at Big Blue Madness every year. We did Michael Jackson. We did MC Hammer. We did James Brown. We did a Bruno Mars. We did line dances. And we closed it out with Lil Nas X and Billy Ray Cyrus, Old Town Road. You can see all of these on YouTube. So the point of this story is this. When you're going to YouTube to watch these dances that I know you want to watch now, I want you to subscribe to the Coach Matthew Mitchell Show. Now, let's get down to business, and let me give you quickly, because that was a long story, so I'm not going to keep you long. I want to respect your time. But we've been talking preparation, and we've been talking about how prepared leaders are productive. They're leaders of accomplishment, and that's what you want to do. And there's such great satisfaction in producing something and reaching your goal, and preparation powerfully positions you to win. And so I'm going to give you a to-do list this week. Very simple that you're going to be able to use. You're going to be able to take this to-do list, and it's going to be able to fuel your preparation. And your preparation is going to power your productivity. And so I love a to-do list, but I'll tell you who we really need to get on the show who has the most incredible to-do lists. My wife, Jenna. She has to-do lists, and nobody, there may be no one I know who uses the winning tools more faithfully than Jenna. Honest, you're just not going to hear a dishonest word come from her mouth. Hard work. Good Lord, does she work hard. She's a hard worker. Constant motion. Can't get her to stop. And discipline. Discipline. Have you ever heard of people, there are a lot of people out there in the fitness world that talk about overtraining. You need to give your body some recovery, and you can't overtrain. Jenna's not one of those people. She overtrains. Or she would just tell you she's disciplined. She works out every day. So she's honest, she's hardworking, she's disciplined, and she has to-do lists. And she is prepared, and she's getting things accomplished. I'm going to give you the winning tools, Coach Mitchell's preparation to-do list. And this is the first thing on that to-do list that I want you to do. The first thing that we want to be in our preparation to-do list, if I've got a goal, I have a big goal, I have a task, I have anything I want to accomplish, this to-do list is going to help you be prepared to produce at a very high level and to perform at a very high level. So the first thing on our to-do list, we want to think. We want to give ourselves time to quiet down, to slow down, and to do nothing but think. And we're thinking about our goal. We're thinking about our task. We're thinking about what kind of outcome we want, what kind of result we want to produce out of this task, what result we want if we achieve this goal. And so I want to give myself time to think. And when you do that, you're going to create options. You're going to create options, and those options are going to be your pathway to your goal or to completing your task. So the second thing on the to-do list is, after you have created the options, after you've taken some time to think and you've created the options, I now want you to engage your brain, and I want you to, the second thing, I want you to analyze. Analyze the options. Weigh the pros and the cons. Give yourself that gift of time where you can do a thorough analysis of what you have available to you. What are the options? What are the resources? What's the time requirement? What's the who are the people that I need? What are the options? That's step number 2. Step number 3 is now once we have analyzed the options, we're going to dig into the details, and this is a very, very important part of this process. We are going to write the plan. Once we've analyzed the options, and now we've shuffled through those, and we've filtered through those, and we've dug into the details, now we're going to write the plan. And you may say, why do we want to write the plan? Why can't I just make a mental checklist here and have it sort of organized in my brain? There's also there's science behind writing the things down, and there's they'll say there's a 18% chance, there's 33% increase in productivity. There's all sorts of these percentages around. I don't know which one's right. Here's why I like to write, and here's the benefit for me. It's when I take the time to write the plan down and finally get a detailed plan, not rough draft. Rough draft can be when you're analyzing, and I encourage you when you're analyzing, rough draft it, whiteboard it, write down the options. But I want to write down the detailed plan once I've gotten into the details, because that gives me time to make sure my plan's solid. And when I stop, pause, and get the pen out or the pencil and I write it down on paper, inevitably there's another thought that comes to my mind that improves the plan. And when I write that plan and I look at that and I take time to read it, there's almost always something that pops into my brain that I'm able to add that makes the plan better. And if I rush through it, and this is for me too, even if I type it, I'm in a bigger, I can type faster than I can write. And I don't want to rush through this process. I want to dig into the details and I want to write the plan. Number 4, I want to communicate the plan. So if I am doing that, if it's a personal plan, so for instance, in October, I committed to my health and I have a certain number of workouts that I want to engage in with my trainer. I have a certain number of yoga practices I want to complete with my yoga teacher. I want to eat in a certain way that's clean and that's fueling me properly. And so that's a personal plan that plan's all on me to get done. I've got to make sure I communicate that with myself. But then we don't do anything alone. I believe there's power in collaboration and with people. And so I communicate that with my trainer. I communicate that with my yoga teacher. I communicate that with Jenna on how I want to eat and fuel my body and hydrate. And so when I communicate the plan clearly, that absolutely increases my chances of success. And so that's the 4th item on our checklist. Communicate the plan clearly. Now, if it's a team goal, you can absolutely see the value in everybody understanding and absorbing and being communicated with clearly of what we're trying to do, where we're trying to go, what we're trying to accomplish, what type of performance is expected. So communication, clear communication is of great benefit for us on our preparation to-do list. And then the last item on our preparation to-do list, I want to evaluate execution. So you may be saying, hey, Coach, evaluation, that comes after. So how is that preparation? Preparation is before. And this is what I would tell you about evaluation. I want to evaluate while things are happening. I want to make sure that I'm checking in enough times during the execution so I'm learning this is working. So I want to keep with this and I want to enforce this as a practice that will help me in the future. Or if something's not working, my evaluating the execution allows me to make an adjustment, to make an improvement. And so I like to evaluate while we are trying to accomplish the task instead of waiting to only evaluate when you're completed. You definitely want that. You definitely want to evaluate once you've completed and once you've reached your goal or haven't reached your goal, and learn from the success or learn from whatever challenge arises. But I like to also evaluate while we are executing. So that is your preparation to-do list. You need to think, you need to analyze, you need to write, you need to communicate, you need to evaluate. And when you have that to-do list in front of you, you're going to stay on track. And now you're going to be developing into world-class preparation territory. And that's what great leaders are. Great leaders, world-class leaders are world-class in preparation. And so I want you to use this to-do list to improve your preparation. You can find out more about what we're doing at CoachMatthewMitchell.com. We are coaching. We are speaking. Do you want, what about this story I told you? Listen, let me say this. If you know Benaj Delaney or know someone who, please get her this episode. And I want to see if she remembers the way that I do. And I'm going to try to track Benaj down. Great WNBA player for the New York Liberty, and we have her on as a guest. Let's make sure we make a note of that. We'll get Benaj on the podcast. That would be awesome. How much fun would that be? And then we can see if I remember the story accurately. That's how I remember the story. That's how I remember it. But if you want a good speaker, we're booking up for 2025 right now. We have some slots available. So we're writing books, we're speaking, we are doing workshops, we're coaching your executive teams, your sales teams, any team that's wanting to perform at a high level. We do one-on-one coaching with high-level leaders. So go to CoachMatthewMitchell.com. You can find all of that there. And then please subscribe to the podcast. We're on Apple. We're on Spotify. Wherever you get your podcast, we'd love for you to subscribe to our podcast and join us each and every episode. If you're listening to us on Apple Podcast, we'd love for you to leave us a review. And remember to subscribe on YouTube. It's going to be fun every single time. It's just going to get better from here, folks. We're having a blast doing the Coach Matthew Mitchell Show. We're having a blast because you joined us this week. I hope you will keep coming back, and we will see you next time.